The tragic murders of 4 University of Idaho students on November 13, 2022, shocked the small town of Moscow, Idaho, and brought national attention to a community that had previously been untouched by such a brutal crime. Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Zana Kernadal, and Ethan Chapin had their futures stolen from them in a senseless act of violence. In the early morning hours, they were brutally murdered in their home on King Road. Despite the horror of the event, Bryan Kohberger, a criminology student, admitted to committing the murders. However, the motive behind the killings remains unclear, and many questions surrounding the crime continue to haunt both the community and the public. Kohberger, a doctoral student in criminology, had no known connection to the victims prior to the murders. Yet, in a chilling admission, he confessed to murdering the 4 students, leaving behind more questions than answers. Why did Bryan Kohberger commit such an unthinkable act? Look at the psychological profile of Kohberger, his relationship with the victims, and the chilling idea that he may have been targeting one of the victims, Maddie Mogen. One of the key points highlighted in the story is the troubling history of Bryan Kohberger. The investigation into his background reveals a complicated and disturbing personality. Kohberger's life was marked by numerous personal challenges, including a past struggle with heroin addiction. Despite these issues, he managed to overcome his addiction and enter the criminology field, eventually enrolling in a prestigious PhD program at Washington State University. However, his academic success did not erase the darkness lurking beneath the surface. That Kohberger had deeply misogynistic tendencies, which seemed to intensify as he grew older. His views on women were disturbing, and he reportedly believed that women belonged in the kitchen and should be subservient to men. This misogyny likely played a role in his decision to commit murder, and these views may have led him to target Maddie Mogen. Investigators and those close to the case suggest that he may have been obsessed with her long before the murders took place. He reportedly stalked her online and was fixated on her for months before the murders. His obsession with her was so intense that he knew details about her personal life, including her name and the pink cowboy boots she kept in her window. This kind of detailed information suggests that he was watching her closely, possibly from a distance, and was planning the attack for some time. In addition to examining Kohberger's history and his possible motives, through interviews with the victims' families, friends, and classmates, Maddie Mogen, the only child of Karen and Scott Laramie, was a vibrant young woman who had a passion for social media and was loved by everyone around her. She had a serious boyfriend and was making plans for her future when her life was tragically cut short. Kaylee Gonzalez, known for her go-getter attitude, had already lined up a job and was preparing to move on to the next chapter of her life. Ethan Chapin, who was with Zana Kernadal at the time of the murders, was a kind and athletic young man who had a bright future ahead of him. Zana was described as carefree and happy in the months leading up to her death, and she had recently fallen in love with Ethan. Her story, along with Ethan's, adds another layer of heartbreak. Karen Laramie, Maddie's mother, shares her profound grief, stating that she doesn't watch the news anymore because it only brings back painful memories. Ethan's parents, Jim and Stacy Chapin, Jim Chapin's emotional interview reveals how he still talks to Ethan's ashes, keeping his memory alive even after his tragic death. The Chapin family's loss is compounded by the fact that they were unable to get more time with Ethan. Jim's words about not being able to have more time with his son resonate deeply with anyone who has lost a loved one too soon. The impact of the murders extended beyond the victims' families to the entire town of Moscow, which had never experienced such a brutal crime. People in the town were shaken to their core, and many were left wondering who could commit such an act in their quiet, idyllic community. Moscow Police Chief James Fry spoke candidly about the frustrations of leading an investigation under the intense pressure of the world's media. His small police department, which consisted of only 24 officers, was thrust into the spotlight as they worked alongside the FBI and Idaho State Police to solve the case. Fry and his team faced criticism for not having answers in the weeks following the murders, and he admits that the media scrutiny was a burden for the department. Despite the challenges faced by the police, the investigation eventually led to the arrest of Bryan Kohberger on December 30, 2022. People were relieved to know that the killer was an outsider, but the sense of shock and grief still lingered. The tragic murders of the 4 University of Idaho students took a psychological toll on the local police officers. He feared that Moscow's image, once peaceful and unassuming, would forever be altered by the ongoing media frenzy. The police department, though small, was ultimately proud of their work in bringing Bryan Kohberger to justice. However, Moscow Police Chief James Fry admitted that the lack of public information during the investigation led to widespread speculation and misinformation. He reflected on how maintaining confidentiality was important to protect the investigation's integrity, even as the public's demand for information led to the spread of false rumors. One of the most important aspects of this case is how it highlights the lives of the 4 victims and their families. Despite the tragedy, the focus on the victims' personalities, their hopes, and their dreams ensures that they are remembered for more than just their untimely deaths. By giving them a voice, the victims' stories are preserved, ensuring they will never be forgotten. The emotional impact on the victims' families and the town of Moscow is significant. The grief and trauma experienced by those closest to the victims serve as a powerful reminder of the human cost of such violence. The loss of Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan left a deep wound in the hearts of their loved ones, and the trauma experienced by those closest to them is immeasurable. The families, forever changed by this senseless act, now carry the weight of grief and pain that will never fully fade. The community of Moscow, once a peaceful and tight-knit town, has been irreversibly altered by this tragic event. The shock of such brutality hitting so close to home is something that no one can easily overcome, and the psychological scars on the residents of the town will take years to heal, if they ever do. What was once a serene place has now become a reminder of the fragility of life, where even the safest environments can be shattered by violence. Bryan Kohberger's psychological background provides some insight into the complexities of his actions. While his exact motives remain unclear, understanding his troubled history and mindset helps paint a more complete picture of why he committed such a heinous crime. Kohberger's background in criminology, combined with his personal struggles and troubling views, shows a dangerous combination of intellect and inner turmoil. Despite his success in academia, his past actions and mental state likely played a role in his decision to take such extreme measures. In the end, this case serves as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of violence, not only on the victims, but on everyone connected to the tragedy. The grief and pain felt by the families and the community will echo for generations. The memories of Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan live on in the hearts of those who loved them, and the ripple effect of their loss will be felt for years to come. Their lives, though tragically cut short, continue to serve as a reminder of the preciousness of life and the need for compassion, understanding, and justice in a world that can so easily be darkened by violence. If you found this video thought-provoking, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on how violence affects a community long after the crime has been committed.